Hello and welcome to In Touch with Durham County, the show designed to provide you with information about Durham County government people, programs, and services. I'm your host, Deborah Craig Ray. We are pleased to bring you another exciting show today. Ellen Beckmann is Director of Durham County Transportation. Her team is responsible for planning, developing, and enhancing the county's transportation network to improve mobility and connectivity all across Durham County. I'm looking forward to an insightful discussion. Durham County is growing, and so are the ways we listen, connect, and lead. In our second segment, we meet Community Engagement Analyst Miles Spann of Durham County Community Partnerships and Engagement. Miles shares how the county is meeting residents where they are and learning directly from the community about what they need from their government. Hi, Ellen. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Thanks for joining me.
And it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier that the last time we got together, it was online. We did a virtual show together.
Yes.
So I'm glad we're actually in person today in the studio. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you. How long have you worked for Durham County? Share a little bit about your background.
All right. So I've worked for Durham County for about 5.5 years now as the county's first transportation director, and my department's grown over those years to be more than just me. Prior to that, I worked for the city of Durham in transportation, as well as at the Triangle West Transportation Planning Organization, which is our regional transportation planning group. And I even worked for NCDOT for 1 year.
Wow.
So I worked for state, regional, city, and county now.
Yeah, so you're definitely well versed. Yeah, so you mentioned your team. Tell us about your team that you've grown over the time.
I have 4 staff persons, 3 transportation planners, and 1 transit program administrator. So we all work together on various transportation plans, budget management efforts across a variety of different transportation modes, transit, bike ped. We work with NCDOT on highway facilities, all of the above.
Awesome. So tell us first, what is the Durham County Transit Plan and Annual Work Program?
So the Durham County Transit Plan is the long-range vision for how we use the approved Article 43 half-cent sales tax to improve public transit in Durham County. So it's a requirement of the state law that allowed us to authorize that tax. And the annual work program is the annual budget for those funds.
Now, who are our transit partners and who approves the work program?
Yeah, so transportation involves a lot of different organizations. And for Durham County, we're primarily in a budget role for these funds. The city of Durham operates the Go Durham bus system, so they're a critically important partner, as well as Go Triangle. They operate the regional bus system. And then we also work with that organization I mentioned earlier, the Triangle West Transportation Planning Organization, that does a lot of the long-range planning for the area.
Now, how will you fund in the upcoming fiscal year? You talked about having sort of the budget responsibility.
So the annual work program is in the final stages of development right now. The Board of Commissioners approved it last week. Unfortunately, this year is a tough budget year. You know, we're dependent on the sales tax revenues, and they have declined compared to previous years. So for the most part, this year is a continuation budget of previous planning and services that have been funded. But we are continuing all of those services. So there's a lot of new bus services being provided by the city and Go Triangle that will continue this year. We've greatly expanded those services over the last few years. So I think riders will still experience a lot of improved services. In addition, we are funding a variety of different capital projects that are continuing to be developed. Some of the ones that I think people may see and notice the most are the improvements to Durham Station downtown that's under construction right now. as well as bus stop improvements throughout the community. So if you see new shelters, sidewalks connecting to those shelters, most of that is funded through the Durham County Transit Plan.
Excellent. And those are very helpful. Very helpful. So we're hearing about the Durham to Roxborough Rail Trail Plan. Share more with our viewers about what that is and why it's important.
Yeah, so there is a unused railroad track stretching all the way from downtown Durham to the city of Roxborough. Stretches 26 miles, 18 of which are in Durham County. It was built in the 1890s and has not been used in more than 40 years.
Wow.
It connects from downtown Durham through the communities of Bragtown, Bahama, Rougemont in Durham County, and then on to Person County. So we have an opportunity right now to purchase the corridor from Norfolk Southern and use it in the future to convert to a greenway trail, similar to how the American Tobacco Trail was built in South Durham.
Yeah, that sounds good. And certainly we have the 2026 Bike and Walk Plan. Again, what is that and why is it good for our community?
So the county and the city are working together on the Bike Walk Plan. It's nearly complete and will be brought forward for adoption soon. It identifies a long-range vision for bicycle and pedestrian facilities throughout the county. It also identifies some priority projects to pursue in the short term. So these are things like new sidewalks, bike lanes, paths, greenways throughout the community.
Excellent, because again, it just enhances our quality of life.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let's shift a little bit and talk about railroad safety. What is the East Durham Railroad Crossing Study?
Yes, so in 2022, Durham County received a federal grant to study 3 railroad crossings in East Durham. That's at Plum Street, Driver Street, and Ellis Road. So these 3 crossings have a history of crashes, unfortunately, and the trains delay vehicles, as well as when there is a crash, it affects the transportation network for everyone. Obviously, a severe safety hazard. And so we received this grant to study options to change those crossings in the future. It could be grade separation, closure. We'll see. We're going to do a lot of community engagement and look at a lot of the technical analyses of how different options would affect travel. So we received this grant and we're just getting started right now. I think over the next year, we're going to engage with the community, stakeholders, partners like NCDOT and the City of Durham on what to do for those 3 crossings.
Yeah, and we certainly want to make sure the community knows about that because we definitely want to hear from them since they are directly impacted.
Yes, yeah. I mean, our goal is to develop a plan that is responsive to the safety concerns, but also supports the community and especially economic growth and development around those crossings.
What are the next steps of the project and how can residents get involved?
So we're right now working on our specific schedule for stakeholder engagement. So I don't have any specific dates at this time, but we expect that will begin later this year.
Okay, very good, very good. So clearly, you all have your hands, your team, you have your hands in a lot of things that impact the way we move throughout the community. It's important work that you do. And so how can people get in touch with your department to get more information about transportation?
Yeah, so we have a website, of course, through the county's website that includes a lot of our information. There's a lot of information about the transit plan and the annual work program process. One thing I want to note is we have a transit tracker too, which is a dashboard that is keeping track of our implementation of the transit plan projects and shows things like, how much budget has been spent, how many bus stops have been improved. So it's part of our commitment to transparency and accountability for those funds. So we have that, and then of course when we do specific planning efforts, we often, almost always do surveys and public engagement and meetings. So that's always advertised through the county's website and social media sites.
Yeah, we're certainly happy to share that. Again, people just underestimate how important it is to take advantage of these opportunities to share their ideas. And, you don't really think about transportation until, something is disrupted. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, yeah. Transportation affects everyone. Everyone travels every day. So I think everyone has an experience of it and they have something to share. So we definitely always are interested in hearing from the community about what they're experiencing and how they think things could be improved.
Well, again, we're about out of time. Is there like a final thought you'd like to share with our viewers?
I think one thing that's important to note with transportation is that a lot of these investments are long-term. They do take years, sometimes even decades to build.
Yeah.
And what we have today is the result of people thinking about long-range plans and how to improve things decades ago. So progress can be slow, but it's important. And these things are permanent kind of investments in our community, kind of set the vision for how Durham can grow and continue to prosper.
Well, again, we'd just like to thank you so much for what you and your team do to enhance our quality of life in our community and beyond, obviously within our region. So just thank you, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. And when we return, we will speak with Community Engagement Analyst Miles Spann. Stay with us, and we'll see you on the other side of these announcements.
Welcome to Durham County Veterans Services. My name is Jonathan Crooms, and I'm the Veterans Services Supervisor. Have you ever wondered how a Veterans Service Officer can help you access your VA benefits? Well, I'm going to take a moment to talk to you a little bit about our services and how we can help you. As accredited Veterans Service Officers, we educate you on the benefits, advise you on what evidence is needed, help you prepare and file the paperwork, and represent your claim before the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, all of which is free to you. Please know that you are not alone in the process of accessing your VA benefits, and we're here to be your advocate. It is an honor and privilege to serve you every day, and we look forward to meeting you soon.
Welcome back to In Touch. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show Miles Spann, Community Engagement Analyst for Community Partnerships and Engagement. Hi, Miles.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you.
It's good to be had.
So again, I'm just appreciative of you coming to join us today. Tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been with Durham County.
Well, I've been at Durham County for 2 years. I've been working in community engagement in Durham, specifically in Durham, for about almost 7 years. Before this, I used to work for the city of Durham, doing community engagement for them. And then before that, I was an engagement officer for middle school, Brogdon Middle School. So I used to actually work for the school systems also.
Okay.
But the whole time it's been focused on how do you engage with people? How do you get people who have been disconnected, disenfranchised, or just separated from the work that you do? How do you bring them into the process? So I've been doing that for so many years that now it's just like it's a part of who I am. It's how do you make people feel connected and involved?
Excellent, excellent. So again, how is community engagement organized? Pretty much, what's the mission of your department?
Wow. So community engagement, well, specifically, we are now community partnerships and engagement, meaning that there are two main focuses of our work. The first one is community engagement, so how do we get people involved? But then also there's a large portion of it that is the partnership aspect. So how do we build better relationships with community organizations, other key players in our community, in the larger Durham County? How do we get them all to work together and play together? So our job is, as community partnerships and engagement, is to go out, meet people, connect with them, and figure out how do we connect them with our work here at Durham County.
Now, how is your department organized?
There are three positions. There's a director position, there's an analyst position, and then there's a specialist position. The director position is not filled currently at this point in time, but I come in as the analyst. I do a lot of the partnership work and a lot of the community-based work because that is where I spent the most of my time. And then we have a specialist who spends his time working on very specific projects, like we had a volunteer portal. We just launched a volunteer portal for our employees to participate in so that they can know how do they participate in the community. What are some opportunities for them to get engaged with different organizations with a little bit of their extra time? And then he also does other specific programs, like working with specific organizations to really figure out how do we build out our database and our systems that help people do what they're going to do.
Now, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges our community is facing right now?
I think some of the biggest challenges, I think there is a constant pressure financially. We're going to see this because so many things have changed, and the cost of living and just even the cost of gas has gone up so much that people are having a harder time doing what they used to do with ease 5-10 years ago. So that is something where we're trying to step in and we're saying, okay, people do not have everything that they used to have with ease. So how do we take pressure off of it without putting additional pressure on each other? So we build a lot of partnerships and connections to say, hey, organization A has a certain skill set and a certain workforce that organization B could use. So let's figure out how can we get someone that does IT from our IT department or from this other organization right here connected to this group right here. So we end up functioning as connectors that really helps people say, hey, we struggle with this and we were paying so much for this and we were working so hard to get this thing done, but we have a group that has an extra building, or they work in the building and they only use it for certain hours. Well, we have another organization that's looking for a space.
Right.
So we connect those two together, and all of a sudden, instead of them spending additional money, they say, hey, we can give you a discount on this, we can cut this down, and we all share the same space while building community. So one of the issues is money. Another issue that we have is just helping people deal with change. We have a lot of individuals that are leaving organizations and moving around, and people that are just changing. Things are changing in our community. So how do we help people address that? Whether it's personal change by saying, hey, we have some resources that we can point you to, or whether it is organizational change where we give people the skills to navigate those hardships that they're dealing with. It's all about connecting people to resources, walking them through the things that they're going through, and making sure that they're with the right people so that those problems are not that big anymore.
Absolutely. Excellent. Excellent. So, what role do local leaders, residents, and other community partners play in your work?
They are essential to our work. As I said, we have a very small department, and with a small department, we don't have, it's only so much two people can do, right? There's only so much a few people can do. So what we try to approach it from like a hub and spoke perspective, where leaders, you know your community better than I do. I may know you and I can build with you and you can introduce me to everybody. But sometimes it's more important for a message to come from this leader than it is to come from just me. So a lot of times what we do is we reach out to community leaders and they connect with us. And then just like you had Ellen on here, Ellen will say, hey, we're having we're trying to build on the rail trail concept. We want more people to come out and tell us how they feel about it. So I will reach out to my connections in neighborhoods and say, hey, can you help me gather people and get people together so we all can talk about whatever this thing may be. So these leaders, I can't reach nearly as many people without them. So when we have community members, when we have people who care about the area that they grew up in, or area that they live in, those people are so important because they're our touchstone. They're the ones that reach out to everybody else. And if I bring enough of those leaders together in one space, all of a sudden, my reach and our reach as a county is maximized.
Yeah. Talk to me about some of the presentations you've made since you've been there.
Oh, yes. So presentations, I've worked with a lot of different departments. I've worked with sustainability. I've worked with transportation. I've worked with open space. I've worked with different groups across. So other organizations, I've even worked with the city on helping them with their budget process from last year, doing something similar with our budget and our finance departments. I have done speaking engagements for our HR and just a bunch of different people. But outside of that, I've spent a lot of time in some of the community centers. So the West End Lion Park community, Bragtown. I spent a lot of time at our libraries helping out and talking to people. So a lot of our presentations, the things that I have talked about and brought people in and saying, hey, you have finances, you have taxes, you have all these different things that are going on around you that impact your way of life. So let's talk. Let's figure out how we can get you plugged in. And while I'm there, I end up talking about other ongoing from other departments. So that's where I start bringing in other good things that we do. So I try to help you guys a lot in public information by saying, hey, these are some of the things that are going on. Let's figure out how can we spread that out.
Yeah. So pretty much you really help support Durham County's overall mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because one of the things for you to be community, to represent Durham County, is to represent a broad organization that touches every aspect of our life. So for me to go out there, I may show up and meet somebody in the community, and I may be coming to talk specifically about an energy sustainability program. And while I'm there, someone might say, hey, we've been trying to get in contact with the sheriff's office, or we're trying to figure out how do we solve, we're having an issue with our tax bill. Or sometimes it may even be something unrelated to what the county does. They may come to me asking about trash collection. And I have to know just enough to send somebody in the right direction. And that's what our work is. Our work is connecting people to the resources that will make their life better.
Looking ahead, what are a few priorities for community engagement over the next few months and years?
The next priority over the next few months and years, I would say that one of the highest priorities is getting more Durham County employees to volunteer in other places. That's a high priority because we have so many employees, and we also give them a allotted amount of time to use every month to go towards volunteering. And we want to see our community members go out and maximize their reach. And not just leave it as a benefit on the table. Outside of that, there's a big focus on us building our resource hub. We have a lot of information about all the different organizations across the county, and we want to make it so it's more attractive for people to use, easy for people to use, so that when you come in and you say, hey, I want to find a place to get my hair cut, you can go to our website and type in haircut or type in grooming or personal care, and you can find a location. Or if you're having trouble with food security, I worked heavily with the public health, I work heavily with social services. So one of the things that we end up doing is saying, hey, these people, we need to make sure people have access to the resources. Yeah. So our job in the next few months, in the next year, going on into perpetuity, is finding the resources, getting them connected, and making sure people have access to them. Yeah. Because that makes our work work.
Well, Miles, we certainly want to thank you so much for sharing this great information. We're about out of time. Is there a website that people can contact you at?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, our email, you can send us an email anytime, is communityengagement@deconc.gov. Outside of that, you can meet us on the DECO website, where we're always available. It's under Community Partnerships and Engagement, under Departments, and you can always get in contact with us in those two ways. Other than that, find me on the street, see me in people's neighborhoods. If not, you know how to find me.
Great. Well, we appreciate all that you do, and thank you for taking your time to join us today.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I appreciate you.
Yes. So as we wrap up, we want to just remind you to follow us on our social media channels, sign up to see our weekly Durham This Week online, and also follow our YouTube videos, Durham County Government in 60 Seconds by Dawn Dudley. We'll see you next time on In Touch with Durham County. Cheers.